and welcome to I'm Piscataway. This is Wednesday, August 7th, and we're on the air live. If you'd like to speak with me or my guests, please call us at any time during this hour-long program at 732-562-2305. Tonight's guests are at-large Councilman Kapil Shah and the Piscataway Community Center Project Manager, Ben Heller. Councilman Kapil Shah is in his first term as at-large council member on the Township Council, a local business owner in Piscataway. He was also a library trustee board for many years and a graduate of the Citizen Police Academy. Councilman Shah continues to serve on the Recreation Advisory Board as well as the Council's Public Works and Personnel Committees. And welcome back to the show, Councilman Shah. Ben Heller is a project manager with Lehrer Cumming Corporation, who is overseeing the construction management of our community center. He is a Rutgers University graduate and has been in the construction field for over 10 years. And welcome to I Am Piscataway, Ben. So, there's a lot of junkies out there now that are watching the 24/7 construction of the community center out there, and you and your colleagues from Cummings Corporation are overseeing Terminal Construction, who is the firm that's building the community center. But to watch the ballet of equipment and personnel and material out there as the project progresses out there is pretty impressive. Because if you see, I don't know if we're going to show footage later tonight. I don't think we have it though, but at a later date we will, of when Councilman Shaw, when we were there for the groundbreaking sense in actually March, and to where we are today, and the first full week of August is incredible.
It's a real orchestra. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a real show.
Now, so what are the folks, here it is, August 7th, what are the folks going to be seeing, say, over the next 2 to 3 months out there?
Sure. So
and you got to remember, some people are lay people out there, and they may not know construction terminology.
Yeah, of course.
However, so you could do the slow mo,
Sure.
or the slow jam of this,
of
so to
course.
speak, the Jimmy Fallon slow jam.
And to put it very simply, the goal is to get the building watertight, meaning no water penetrating the building, and being able to work inside and basically close doors and get some heat on for the winter, and so that the interior construction can really start to take place.
Now, you mentioned, right before we just came on air, you were mentioning to Councilman Shaw and myself how some of the materials were on order, actually are coming by container ship from Germany.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the exterior of the building is a terracotta panel. It's a very, really attractive look. That is the main component that's really coming from overseas. So the building, while it might not look like it's finished, as long as it's, again, watertight and there's no weather elements that can really come inside the building will be progressing at the right pace. Yeah.
So, all right. So basically, right now you have the trades, you have the pipe fitters are out there, and the framers, the steel workers.
Yeah.
Out there, you saw a lot of the arc welding going on out there. I guess we can watch that while it's going without having to wear the safety goggles.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and there's constant site work going on, which is also a great feature to have. Again, they want to try to get that wrapped up as much as they can before the winter, because in the winter months there's not a whole lot.
I got to tell you, I guess the folks at Terminal, I guess they were pretty fortunate over this past winter of 2019 in February when they started excavating, that they relatively had a mild winter where they were able, as the councilman knows.
Nice weather also.
Yeah.
All summer now.
I mean, they poured a lot of the stuff in March and April.
Yeah, I like to say that the project was coordinated and kicked off at the right time, and it really was. I think February 19th was the official notice to proceed date for Terminal. Yeah. They moved forward. Groundbreaking was for them literally that day. Yeah. And the whole project was really teed up in a nice fashion, and they were able to hit the ground running and had some very fortunate with the weather.
I mean, even though we had a lot of rain for a period, but the point is that more importantly, when we didn't have rain when it was when they were pouring,
Of course, yeah.
which was great.
Very, very fortunate all around, and let's knock on wood that we get that.
Although some of the folks at Terminal are telling me sometimes after they do a pour, actually a little bit of rain actually
it helps. It does help. It helps the curing of
Which
the concrete.
to a layperson, we wouldn't think, well, what do you mean? Why would you want rain coming in on your freshly poured concrete?
Sure, yeah, it helps the curing process. You want decently mild temperatures, but water on it actually does help it to cure.
Yeah. So the number is 732-562-2305. The call on Piscataway tonight. We have Ben Heller from Cummings Corporation, who are the construction project managers of the community center, and also Councilman Kapil Shah. Now, Councilman, did you have a question of?
When you put the panel on a side, so roof also finish same time, right?
Yeah, so the roof is, believe it or not, you'll start seeing the roof be complete in the next few weeks. The roofer is scheduled to come
so that
in and
there's steel sheathing up on it right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Now, one of the things for the residents to know that that was architecturally engineering designed that at some point that if we ever hit the lottery ticket and we're able to put some solar panels up there, structurally it will handle it.
Yes, of course.
You know, it was designed with the intent to put solar up there, but we just didn't have the money to do it at this point.
At this point in time, but maybe there's another phase.
But you know, at the end of the day, as you know, in the construction fields, technology like that's moving very quickly.
Yes.
And even though there's a structural weight load for the heaviest type of panels that we have today, it may be less when time moves on.
Of course, yeah. Technology, as that advances, and construction technology, I mean, that it gets better and better almost every day.
Now, one of the things I think in prior shows we showed some of like where the actual indoor basement plumbing area of where the filtering system is, which you look at those tanks that are in there. You're saying, I hope they never go bad, because how do you get them back in there?
Of course.
But you might want to explain a little bit about those systems down there.
Yeah,
How this filtration system is going to work.
Sure.
With the pool. We're talking about the pools.
The pools, correct. Yeah. So the main components of the filtration system for the pools are actually in the basement. There is a freight elevator that takes you down there. So should there be any need to replace anything in the near future,
there will be a way to do it.
There's a way to do it, and the building was designed to do that. Above that, there is actually a mechanical room as well, so kind of all the utilities are similarly located. But the filtration system itself for the pool was designed by CHA, who's the pool consultant for this. They've done a lot of different pools throughout the state, so I know that the technology and the aspects of the filtration system itself are probably top notch.
Well, from what I understand is that they've done a lot of very large aquatic centers, not just in the state of New Jersey, but all over the country.
Yes, of course, yes.
And, you know, in this day and age, you know, that's one of the challenges for anybody who wants to build an aquatic center. You have to get it right because there's public health issues out there.
Of course.
And one of the things that we did do what Virginia Beach didn't do is that they had the system, all their pools tied to one system. Whereas we have three separate systems.
That's
because
correct.
if you ever had to drain one of the pools, you're not shutting down the other two.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yep.
And that's one of the lessons we learned when we took a visit of down in Virginia Beach, Virginia. About that's one of the things that they had to have a redo.
Of course.
We would have changed that system.
Of course, yeah, and I know you learned a lot of lessons down there, and we applied as much as we possibly could to this building.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to do that.
Yeah, because a lot of fitness center, if they have a problem, they can set it up whole thing.
Yeah.
So at least we're fortunate we have a separate system.
Yeah, and in the same breath as somebody has an accident in the pool, I mean, Board of Health, you got to drain it. You know, it is what it is.
Right.
And so, but, you know, I just like now. How will they bring like the chlorine and things like that?
So there's a fill station that's actually you enter through the back. It's its own separate room, and it's done kind of behind the scenes really.
So we're not gonna see anybody jockeying anything. So you're gonna come through the side door or whatever.
Right. So it's all kind of done behind the scenes. And
so the councilman will be done at midnight, right there, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And it is literally in the rear of the building, and it's literally called the fill room, and that's where the chlorine's brought in and the whole process.
Oh, how classic, the fill room.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we may need. You know what? We might do naming rights in that room. You know, we'll get somebody to see. Might want to do naming rights right there. So I think what we're going to do is we do have a 16-plus minute segment with Rutgers University that was pre-recorded this past week with the head football coach, Ash, about that. We're going to go to that, and then we have some other clips, and then the announcements. And then we have other clips after that, but then I want to come back and talk about other aspects of the community centers. So let's go to the video clip of the Rutgers head football coach, Ash, out there, the interview we stopped on I Am Piscataway. Okay, we're here today at SHI Stadium here in Piscataway with our annual visit with Rutgers head coach, football coach Ash, and welcome back to I Am Piscataway, Coach. It's another year. This is the start of your fourth preseason, fourth year on the banks here in the Raritan. I think the first one I'm going to ask you is, I remember as a kid being here at Rutgers Stadium for the 100th anniversary for the Rutgers-Princeton game. Yeah. And now this is the 150th anniversary of the year.
You're showing your age a little bit.
That's right. I didn't have gray hair then. But as somebody been involved in football your life, what is that meant for college football? The Rutgers, when they think of Rutgers-Princeton game, how it all started. You as a coach, going up in the ranks prior to becoming to the banks here. What does that say in football in general?
Well, first and foremost, it's a great sport. I think it's one of the best sports around. It's such a great classroom for life from what you learn, and it changes lives. It's changed my lives. It's changed many lives over the years, the 150 years. And being the birthplace of college football, 150th anniversary, it's a big deal to Rutgers history, and we're excited to celebrate it this season. We want to go out and pay homage to, so to speak, to college football here this year with all the celebrations here on campus and the way our team plays. So we're excited about it.
Well, Coach, it was kind of interesting in the days when Rutgers and Princeton played at both campuses. It was a tradition that whoever the winning team was, the fans would storm the field and take the old wooden goalposts.
Really?
And then they would take up pieces of it and then put the score on as souvenirs. Yeah. So that was always expected.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but you can't do that now, obviously.
No, they changed the goalposts a little bit since then, but that's cool. I didn't know that.
And so anyway, maybe you have to go someplace here on campus and find a piece of the old goalpost. Yeah. Your season opener against University of Massachusetts is going to be televised. It has the pregame for the Big Ten Network. And I think that's the second time that's ever happened here. I think that's a great thing. What does that mean to you as a coach here?
Well, it's a big deal. Opportunity to showcase and basically market our program, what we're doing here on our campus, with our university, within the athletic department, our program. Big Ten Network is one of the best things that ever happened to the Big Ten, and us joining it, getting a chance to market the program is awesome. It's going to be great for our players, our staff, our university, our fans, and really looking forward to it.
And I think the first time, I guess we're going to have to make sure there's a lot of people out in the parking lot. We're in the big scene out there from the Big Ten. It's been 15 years since Rutgers has played Boston College. I know that's I believe the third game of the season. How do you feel about renewing an old Northeast rival?
Oh, I think it's great for both institutions. As we were trying to work on our future schedule a couple of years ago, one of the things we wanted to do was cut down on the travel. There were a lot of games to the West Coast. They were expensive. It was tough. It was a tough trip because of the distance. And as we're building out our schedule in our future, we're like, why not try to get another Power 5 game here locally? One that fans can connect with. It's an easier trip for both fan bases. Less money, obviously. And Boston College was natural. We got Syracuse. We got Temple. All of those are old rivalries that we're trying to renew, and hopefully they can become somewhat consistent down the road.
Well, I know we're going to have better success because I can remember when Boston College played here. It was like the first season Doug Flutie was playing, and he pulled off an upset here. But it is a great rivalry. I'm glad to see that the university is playing Boston College again. What kind of imprint do you see the Big Ten making on the national level this year?
Well, the Big Ten is one of the best leagues in college football, and every year there are going to be teams that are in the conversation for the playoffs, the national championship hunt. The exposure that this league gets nationwide with all the television contracts. I mean, we're on TV more than any other conference in America. So I don't expect that to be any different this year. There will be teams that will be in that conversation, preseason as the season unfolds, and just a great league to be a part of.
We want to get to some of the coaching. You had some coaching changes in the off season. I believe you have a new a defensive coordinator. You want to tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, Andy Boo came to us from Maryland. Andy and I worked together at the University of Wisconsin when I was the defensive coordinator there. Andy was a linebacker coach. We had a great relationship, and that relationship really stemmed from our beliefs and philosophies on how to coach and what we believed in defensively. We really married, from that standpoint. So, we would communicate and talk all the time and exchange ideas and get together. Our families are very close. And, as I went through after 2018 and evaluated every part of the program from A to Z, I had to make some tough decisions with the staff. And, Andy was somebody that I always had an eye on to try to get on to our staff if the opportunity ever arose, and it was a perfect opportunity to bring somebody that I know, I trust, believe in. He believes in the same things that I do, and it allowed me to free up and be more of a head coach and be more involved in all three phases of the game.
Now, what kind of, not to give away your strategy on the defensive thing, but what other changes were there any other changes on the coaching staff on the defensive side?
Yeah, hired Jay Valai. Jay actually played for me at Wisconsin. He was a player for me. Jay, last couple of jobs, he was at the University of Georgia when they were in their national title run there a couple of years ago. Came to us from the Kansas City Chiefs last year, and they obviously had a great season. Fell just short of the Super Bowl, but Jay was a very good player, all Big Ten player at Wisconsin. I knew he was going to have a chance to be very successful in whatever he chose to do, and he chose to go the coaching route, and excited to have him here.
Now, what is, you just said that you worked with him when he was at the University of Wisconsin. Don't you feel like taking some pride that you have some former players now that are working under you as in coaching staff and going into the profession?
Yeah, I really do. I think it's a part of our responsibility and obligation as a coach to help give players that played with you or for you an opportunity to get their foot in the door, because it's a very competitive business. The coaching world, it's a very tight-knit fraternity, and usually someone has to give you a break. And that's how I started at my alma mater. I have got Noah Joseph played for me, Jay Valai played for me, Ross Douglas is a graduate assistant played here, Miles Nash we just hired, who was a defensive lineman here at Rutgers as a defensive line GA. Got other former players that have helped get started in the profession, and I think that's part of my responsibility.
Good. And then now on the offensive side, you have Coach McNulty, is still second year here. What's your expectations on the offensive with Coach now that he's been here a second year?
Yeah, I've talked a lot about this. I think it is a big deal that he's back for another year because he knows our players. Every year a new offensive coordinator comes into a program, they really don't know the players, they don't know what their strengths and weaknesses are, what they can handle.
And you actually mentioned something to that in the press that you didn't realize, somebody mentioned it, I guess, to you, that this was the first time ever that an offensive coordinator at Rutgers.
It's been 10 years.
Been 10 years returned.
Yeah, and the last one was John McNulty.
Yeah.
Like 2008, 2009. Was the last time that there's been the back-to-back consistent coordinator. So it's a big deal. I'm excited about that. Our players are excited about that. We've made some tweaks and adjustments to our offense based off the personnel and the knowledge that our coaching staff has. We expect to be much improved offensively. We need to be.
Well, I think it's, as you alluded to in the couple press articles, that the fact is that it's going to allow him as a coach to actually, he knows a lot of the returning players and what their capabilities are and plan accordingly for that.
Yeah, I'm a big believer, you have a system that you believe in, but the truly great coaches, the innovative coaches, so to speak, are ones that adjust and adapt their system to fit the players that they have. That's tough as a coach going in a first year because you really don't know what you have.
All right, the quarterback situation, is it up for grabs? I know that's always the big thing at every university. Who's going to be the starting QB? Does Art Sitowski have the lead into that, or is it his to lose? Or
yeah. It's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. And coming out of spring practice, based on who is here in spring, Art will be number one on the depth chart going into training camp. There is no starter that has been named, but a depth chart is a starting spot. So he is number one on the depth chart going into training camp. We'll let it play out. We brought in a grad transfer, McLean Carter from Texas Tech, that we think is a pretty good quarterback prospect as well. So we think there's going to be a really good competition for the position, and we'll let the best man win. We talk about consistency in the offensive coordinator position. We haven't had a consistent quarterback come back either. So, there's an opportunity for both of those things to happen if Art ends up winning the job. But Art, had a rough freshman year, but he learned, he grew, he's had a great offseason, and I'm excited to watch him go out and improve as a sophomore. I think he's going to show huge improvement, and he's embraced competition that we brought into that room, and it's going to be fun to watch it unfold in training camp.
At the Big Ten press conference, you had mentioned that last year that Art didn't get enough support in the various positions in order to make him successful. Is there a large expectation that a lot of these players that are returning, that they now know him as having a full year under the belt, that there's a larger expectation to help?
Well, yeah, I mean, offensive football is an 11-man game. All 11 guys got to work together. And when you talk about running the football, the O-line, the tight ends, the wide receivers, the running back, they all got to work together. And occasionally a running back will make guys miss. In the pass game, the protection has to be there, the routes have to be there, the read has to be there by the quarter. So people have to work together, and it takes an insane amount of time to get that done. And I think with some of the returning players that we've gotten, the time that they've invested together, the product's going to look completely different.
Now, on your depth chart, you're showing a dozen wide receivers on there. Is that unusual, or to have that many wide receivers?
No, it's not. Most people are going to carry 12 to 14 receivers. It depends on what your offensive system is. Some could go as few as 8 to 10, but you're going to have, somewhere around double digits for sure. Because at times you're going to have 3 and 4 wide receivers out there, and you got to be able. They're going to run more than anyone else. There's a chance for injury. They're your special teams. A lot of them are on your special teams. So we probably have a couple more than what we would typically allot, but we're not far off from that target number.
Okay, let's go to the running backs. Where's your expectation for the running backs?
Well,
position?
I think right now they're probably one of our strongest groups on our team. I think Blackshear and Pacheco, who's coming back as a freshman, going to be a sophomore as a freshman last year. I think those two guys really provided some spark for us. They were really the best players on our team last year. I don't expect that to be any different this year, but I expect the supporting cast around them to be stronger. That will allow us to do more things. But we've got 2 freshmen also. We've got Elijah. We've got Barnwell here, we've got Aaron Young, and we've got Cameron Adams that has also joined us here this summer that are going to be freshmen. So between those 3 and the 2 returnees, we got 5 deep at that position that I'm really, really excited about.
So it's going to allow Coach McNulty a lot of versatility.
We hope to, yes.
Yeah. The offensive line, I guess that's one of the criticisms that, Art Piscataway didn't have enough time to go back and pass. Is there going to be a substantial improvement coming?
Well, there better be. That was another tough decision that we made a change at the O-line position. Hired Pete Rossamondo as the head coach at Central Connecticut State. Pete's an experienced offensive line coach. He's been doing it for over 20 years. He's got a great mind. And it's not just about making the offensive line better. It's about making sure your system fits what they can do. Because you got to know who you can block, what you can block, and what the quarterback can do, and make sure your system fits that. So we've made some tweaks and adjustments to help both our O-line and our quarterback situation.
Let's go over to the defensive side. We'll start with defensive line. Where do you see it with a new defensive coach coming in, and how the strategy that's going to be on the defensive side?
Well, we're not going to really change a whole lot schematically, because a lot of it's what I believe in anyway. We've made some minor tweaks and adjustments. We need to be able to get after the quarterback more and produce some negative yardage plays and get some more sacks. So we've made some adjustments to try to help us do that. I think defensive line-wise up front, we're probably deeper than what we've been since I've been here. I know we are. We may not have right now a guy that I would say is a superstar, but we have more depth and more competition for playing time that's going to allow us to rotate more and keep guys fresh, which in turn will allow the group to be more productive.
Now, the defensive secondary, last year that was one of the bright spots on the defensive there. Do you see that continuing in that trend?
As long as I'm here, it should be. That's my baby. Been a secondary coach for my whole career, and I take a lot of pride in how those guys are coached and what we ask them to do. And I still remember some of the conversations with Isaiah Wharton, Bless on Austin, Saquon Hampton when I first got here. Heard they weren't good enough. 3 years later, they're going to the NFL. So I think we have a pretty good idea of how to coach those guys, and I expect that to be another strength of our defense here.
And I think that's probably a lot of credit to both you and your coaching staff that they ended up making that jump to the NFL. How's the team preparing? You know, August 1st starts the preseason, so to speak. How's the team preparing here in Piscataway, knowing that the first game is only going to be on August 30th?
You know, the NCAA regulates, you know, how many practices you get. You get 25 practices before the first game. You know, so we'll report here on and get started on August 1st with our first practice. We've had a great summer. They've been here all summer working hard, lifting and conditioning, doing player run practices to prepare for training camp.
I've seen some of them in the local shop right buying food.
Yeah. So we you know, I like the team, the investment and the work ethic that they've displayed here over the summer, and they're excited and hungry to get going here with camp.
You've been in recruiting. You've had a lot of camps over the summer here. I believe you had something just recently within the last week. This is now your fourth season recruiting. What's it like recruiting in New Jersey versus other parts of the country?
Recruiting is the most competitive thing that we do. You know, it doesn't matter where you're at. We are really lucky and fortunate to be here in the state of New Jersey with a lot of outstanding football teams and players that we get to recruit here by car. Most people don't have that luxury, so we don't take that lightly. That's a really huge asset that we have, and we're going to try to build the majority of our team with local players.
All right, the last question I want to follow up with, you know, now there's a new name here for the Rutgers Stadium, SHI. What does that mean to both the university and the football team here?
I wasn't involved in those conversations, but you know, it was something that I know our administration thought that we needed to try to go out and create some competition to generate some revenue, and that's exactly what they did. And I agree with you know, the decision. And you know, again, no one's asking me, you know, what to name the stadium, but we are very, very excited about a new partnership and the revenue that we're going to get because of that partnership. And that's where we're at right now, and I'm excited to see how it unfolds.
Well, Coach Ash, I'd like to thank you for coming by on Eye on Piscataway for your annual visit here, and we wish you and your team and the rest of the coaching staff good luck on the 2019 season here at the SHI Stadium here. And we're going to pick up some wins here, and then you're going to do quite well this year.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you always coming by and giving us an opportunity to talk about our program.
Once again, I want to thank Rutgers head football coach Ash and his staff for stopping by Eye on Piscataway and talk a little bit about the upcoming season. I know there's a lot of college football junkies out there in Piscataway that want to, and being the fact that we're the home of Rutgers University, they're very much interested, and especially those folks that live near the stadium when they hear the noise at the stadium. So, but I know Ben, you're a big fan.
I was one of them. I've been at that. Going to those games since I was very little.
Okay.
Very little.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into some clips here real quick before we do our monthly announcements. We have some shots of the completed construction on the Lakeview Avenue Road project, so let's go to the videotape. I don't think the residents realize how complicated this road was. PSE&G made Swiss cheese out of that road. You know, Ben and Councilman, when they were doing the gas pipe upgrades last year, and they just got delayed, and they weren't able to finish it prior to the winter, and we had to put a temporary coat out there. But now, you know, we were able to finish it, and now everybody's happy out there. You know, you don't realize how much traffic gets diverted when you shut down a road like that. That's a major connector street between one of our major arteries in town and also county roads. So at least everybody's happy about that. And then more importantly, probably the second worst street in Piscataway as far as structurally, and in the borough of Middlesex, let's go to the videotape, South Avenue. So I am happy to say a very complicated job. Actually, we awarded a contract, Councilman, as you know, and then the contractor got waylaid with all the utility work out there, and he has to get out of the contract. And we had to actually rebid the job 8 months later. First time that ever happened to us in town where there was that much delay with the utility companies. And wow. And then they mismarked where the utilities were, and it was, believe me, it was a headache for our engineering department out there. But the moral of the story is that it's a very heavily traveled road, industrial road, both on the Middlesex and Piscataway side. And now we have a lot of safety improvements out there, and it's I know we're going to get complaints of speeding out there now. It always happens. Once the municipal government reconstructs a street out there, then people start, as Councilman Shaw knows, to complain.
Once you fix it,
Yeah.
then now there's a problem.
Yeah, then they want the radar trailers, they want police enforcement out there. But you know what, at the end of the day is it's more important that we got to have the roads safe. So let's go to the monthly announcements. We're going to roll right into them if that's okay with everybody. I want to remind everybody about the concert, the Cultural Arts Commission. Is the Concert in the Park series continues through the month of August. The performances are on Thursdays at 7 p.m. at the Columbus Park Gazebo Extension. And next week we have the Guthrie Brothers with tunes and stories of the Everly Brothers. And on August 22nd, back again is Tequila Rose with the very best new and classic country tunes. And August 29th, to close out the season, is Verdict, and we'll turn up the heat for night for Caribbean flavor. How about that? And if it rains, the concert, as usual, is at the Piscataway Senior Center. So you can call the weather hotline or, watch our Facebook account. We normally don't make that decision until 3:30 in the afternoon, so just be patient about that. We have our mobile shredding event coming up at Riverside Park on Saturday, September 7th. This lasts from 9 a.m. till noon, or when the truck is full, it is free. Please only bring confidential and sensitive materials. This is for paper only, no trash, no recycling. Piscataway residents only, and ID is required at the park entrance. And please, no medicine bottles, no metal out there, because you'll ruin the machine out there. So just paper, okay. And the last but not least, the Domestic Violence Crisis Intervention Team. Mark your calendar on September 14th for a worthwhile event. The Township Domestic Crisis Intervention Team is putting on an evening of fun with painting, and you can order your tickets now for this fundraiser at Holmes Marshall Fire Company. So just keep an eye on our municipal Facebook and website for more information as we get closer on that. So let's go. We do have a clip of the community center, so let's go to that. And we're gonna speak over that. Ben's gonna jump in. So Ben, why don't you talk about what's going on here?
Sure. So you'll see some of the masonry going up. This is some of the exterior framing as well. The block work's been going on for the last a few weeks to a month. They're actually almost done with masonry. So watching the building really evolve from what was just foundations and footings to a structure over the last, let's call it, month or so has been really incredible. It started with the steel, and now it's moving on to some more trades. So you've got plumbers out there, you've got electricians, you've got fireproofing going on.
Now, is that what it's going, the fireproofing right there?
So that's fireproofing, and there you can see some of the exterior framing going on, and of course, believe it or not, we've already started to pave.
Now this is just the base work.
This is just the base for the parking lot, and obviously something that the contractors want to get done before the winter. And you have some of the exterior.
Now, what is this green board that's going on?
So that's
all right. So here's some video. This is the timeline from when they actually started in February.
Yeah, and again, you can really see it come to life. It starts with your footings and foundation, and a lot of concrete work, which you see, and then it moves on to steel. And once the steel has been erected, you have some of the decking going on top. And after the steel, you start to see exterior framing, which you see, and then you'll also notice some of the masonry that I was just referring to. And then the green stuff is Dens glass and exterior sheathing, and that's when you start to actually.
So what is that? The
exterior walls.
Okay.
Exterior walls.
So it acts as the insulation?
Yeah, it'll act as one of the layers before the insulation goes on. But yeah, the Dens glass is one of the ways that you start to enclose the building.
Now, Councilman, while we were watching the Coach Ash interview, you had a question of Ben?
Yeah, because before winter you want to pack up. So what about the roofing?
Yeah, so the roofing is going to start going on probably about next week or so. That'll get insulation. And then it gets basically a EPDM, which is a weather sealant.
So I want to remind the viewers the number is 732-562-2305. My guests include Ben Heller from Cummings Corporation, who is the project manager of the community center, and also Councilman Kapil Shah. Now, Ben, you were talking about what was very unique about the type of steel that went up. and the roofing, the interior part of the aquatic center and the basketball gym. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So one of the big expenses and one of the good things that we've kind of used the funds for is acoustical decking, which is a decking. I think if when
I'm gonna try to explain it in layman's terms.
So when I talked before and you saw the steel going up, and then on top of the steel it comes another piece of steel. It's basically a corrugated piece of steel that acts as your ceiling and eventually your roof. The decking in the aquatic center and in the gym are actually acoustical, meaning that they'll actually allow some sound to travel through them, so it's not going to be as loud, which I know that was one.
So you won't get this echo.
You won't get that big echo that you would get in traditionally large ceilings and big kind of grand spaces, and I know that was one of the big lessons.
Well, that was one of the lessons that we learned down in Virginia Beach, and that was another one. They said that if they had to do it over again, they would have tried to minimize the noise level.
And ultimately, the way it is if you were to currently walk the building, although it's completely unfinished at the moment, you would notice steel decking, your traditional steel decking in other parts of the building, and you would kind of notice that it's a little bit louder. And it's a little bit more closed, but it's a little bit louder. And if you were to go into the aquatic center and into the gym right now, you look up, you would actually see holes in the steel decking.
So they actually punched, it was precast holes.
It was, pre-punched holes in the steel. The steel goes on, it gets welded together, welded down and screwed together. So it's taken a little bit longer to get it going, but that's almost complete. And then insulation goes on top of that, and then your roofing membrane goes on top of that.
Now, Councilman Shaw also had a question about the size of the pools.
Yeah, so all these 3 pools, how the biggest one, that's for capacity?
Sure. So there's the 3 pools, like you just mentioned. There's a competition, there's a lap pool, and there's a zero entry pool, which is more of a kids pool.
Kids pool.
And the competition pool is 40 meters. It was something that was talked about years ago when we first started talking about this. Was there's never enough aquatic space around, and competition pools. And so there's the one, like I said, it probably has 6 or 7 lanes.
This one has 8.
Yeah, and so an 8-lane pool that will ultimately be roughly 10 feet deep at its deepest, and it also it's a full-size competition pool.
We made sure there was a minimum of 10 feet. I think it might be 11, so there can also be scuba diving training.
Yeah.
Down the very end.
And you say about the kids some fish and turtle and all stuff like that?
Yeah, so in the kids pool, there's some neat features that spit water like little fish, and there's turtle, and
it's fun.
It's fun. It's more fun. It's way more fun. And again, it's a zero entry, so kids can actually walk in and not have to.
And that's also geared towards for folks that may be wheelchair bound,
Correct.
that they can go into the pool area.
Absolutely. Yep. So
now, I remember I had a laugh back in June at the high school sports senior awards. I spoke to the swim coach at the high school, and he's very much interested in this. And you might want to talk about a couple of the features that we're actually going to have in there.
Yeah, so we've got the striping of the lanes. We've got the touch pads at the end of the pool.
So you might want to explain in lay terms what a touch.
Sure. So, and I'm not a swimmer myself, but I understand from competition that
when you go off the board,
you go off the board, you go off the block, and when you're completed with your laps and with the competition overall, you actually are supposed to reach out and touch something that's actually in the pool called a touch pad, right? And that actually relays back to the scoreboard, and it says, okay, here's your time, and right when you touched it, so there's really no dispute.
And we're going to have there's going to be an extremely nice large scoreboard there for the aquatic area.
Of course, yes. So it's really quite the state-of-the-art facility.
Now, one of the things, since we got the bids so relatively, we were able to do one of the add-ons right there, the add-ons with the tile or whatever it was.
Right. So we were able to tile the pool. It was originally going to be what's called Diamond Bright, just like you would see kind of on the outside on any typical exterior pool. But these pools, because we had it in the budget, we were able to do some fancier finish work with some tiles.
And I think it had this. I think it has the lanes are going to be.
All the lanes are tiled.
So when you're looking down in the water, you can actually see the lanes in the water.
You can actually see the lanes in the water. There's a nice border that goes around each of the pools. The kids' pool's got a little bit more tile work, so it looks a little bit more.
How about the cameras and all?
Yeah. Yeah, and so of course one of the mayor's biggest requests for this was to be able to stream. Live stream the meets, and so sure enough, we have a camera that's going to go right above the competition.
So it'll be looking. So if you ever watch the Olympics, when they
it's a
have the
competition.
camera at the top facing down the pole, so you can see the competition
That's it.
from a down angle, you'll see that and the scoreboard in the same block area.
Of course, and I remember that was one of your big requests early on in the
Yeah, because
pre-construction.
I'm expecting some championships out of that
course,
poll.
of
So that's
course.
why I wanted to make sure that
Final
was going to be
touch-up
there.
is excitement. They
Of
need a
course,
camera there.
of course, of course.
Well, but more importantly, I forgot whether there was going to be a screen in the pool area that people would be able to also look at the down angle.
Right.
If I remember, I knew there was supposed to be there was supposed to be something in there.
Yeah, we have the ability to do that as well.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. So you'll be able to stream it. So if they're at home, so if somebody in the family, if they have a son or daughter that's racing in a competition for some reason, if they're at work, the connection will go on stream and it can see the competition going right there
it's
to
a
me.
great
So,
feature to have, and like you had said, you wanted this to be a state-of-the-art facility, and it truly is.
yeah. And obviously there's going to be a ton of Wi-Fi in there.
Lots of Wi-Fi all around. A lot of TVs. I
think we counted like almost 80 plus TVs.
somewhere around there, I'd say.
Yeah. We'll have more TVs than Best Buy warehouse over there.
Probably true.
Over there, the Dow Chemical site.
Probably true.
But also, you might want to talk a little bit about the fitness center.
Sure. So the fitness center was designed in partnership, I know, with your recreation department.
And that was with Director John Turney in collaboration with a lot of the high school and school district fitness coaches and head coaches on what they thought, should be in there, as well as working with other outside experts.
Absolutely, and it's about an 8,000 square foot facility. It's going to have a lot of ellipticals and a lot of treadmills, in addition to other types of workout stations. You're going to have your weights, and then of course off to the sides there's spinning rooms as well. So this is, make no mistake, this is a state-of-the-art fitness gym.
Yeah, and everybody's going to have a camera or a TV right in front of them.
There are a lot of TVs in that space as well. So it is.
Let's just put it this way: you will not miss any show or whatever.
Oh, no.
And then there's cardiovascular monitors all over the place
as well. Yeah, and again, because of the time that we're in, where there's such good technology that's out there when it comes to especially fitness equipment, this will have the most updated technology incorporated.
Okay, we're going to hold that thought, and we do have to go to a clip, and this is from our 40th anniversary of Piscataway Senior Center, so we're going to go to the videotape. So it's hard to believe that the Senior Center was anything like this was 40 years ago. Obviously, we made substantial amount, as Councilman Shaw knows, improvements to the Senior Center. So we had a lot of service organizations and folks tied in with the municipal government there to celebrate our 40th year at the Senior Center. And I want to thank all the people that made the 40th anniversary of the Piscataway Senior Center come to fruition. But I just always remember when former Mayor Ted Light and former Mayor Bob Smith, when they talked about it, back in the mid-'70s, the building, it was basically a clubhouse. That was built there to house some senior programming. They had enough room for a pool table. Now we have a 30,000 square foot building where basically it acts as an emergency management facility now and handles a lot more programming that was there 40 years ago when it was a very small building. As you know, Councilman, there's a lot of things going on.
Like every day they come and family reunion, they get together. Yeah.
All right, we got a couple things that we're going to quickly talk about. What's in it for the teens?
There is a teen room. There's also a youth room, but there is a teen room that's going to be programmed, I'd imagine, to have lots of different types of after-school activities. Plenty more TVs in there as well.
Yep, and you can play stations.
Of course, and it's going to be more like a game room. I mean, it's going to be really kind of a bit more exciting for teenagers to be in there.
All right, we're going to hold that thought and go to another clip. So we got the summer concert series. Let's go to the videotape.
Great to have all of you here. Again, thanks for coming. And I want to thank the mayor also for his support of the Cultural Arts Commission and for the concert in the parks and all of the other events that we do. And hopefully it is something that you enjoy and that the rest of the township enjoys also, just to make it a great place to live in Piscataway.
Oh, I'm a liar. When we kiss, ooh, fire. That's right, boys. Now let's go to that bridge. Better hold on me right from the start.
There you go, baby, here in my will. Let me hear so I could see the cry. Well, darling, Jean, what have you done to me? Well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Do you remember, baby, last September night? Held me tight each and every night. Well, you play hard to get, 'cause you do know that I want you. I never been a smart to listen to your song, 'cause you do know that I want you. You're my best shot. I say you're gonna sit it down and stay on your shot. I say you're gonna sit it down.
So hush, little baby. You cry, summertime, cotton tie, summertime.
All right, I also want to go right into, we did swear in some new uniform officers, so we got some videotape for the swearing in ceremony.
These are new officers. They're very welcome to our police department. I want to thank the mayor and the council members for endorsing these hires. We keep moving forward. These are great new additions to the department. The fact that these gentlemen put themselves through the academy speaks of their dedication to the profession of police work. Andrew is a township resident. He's a graduate of Mercer County Academy, and we welcome you aboard, Andrew.
Thank you, sir.
Ian was a Robert Wood Johnson ambulance operator and knows a little bit about our town. A graduate of Union County Police Academy. Welcome aboard, Ian.
Thank you, sir.
John is a graduate of Cape May Academy, and I know from personal knowledge he's a gym rat, because I ran into him at the gym. Believe it or not, I go. Welcome aboard, John.
Thank you, sir.
Matthew comes to us via the corporate sector, ADP. He's a graduate of Essex County Police Academy, and we welcome you aboard, Matthew.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations for a hire to one of the best police departments in the state. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Well, we only have a few minutes left before we roll the credits, but Councilman, you had another question about the community center?
We do a lot of exercise. What about the food?
The food?
Of course.
You're supposed to burn off calories
No,
at the
right.
gym.
We need some vegetarian and French fry for kids.
Oh.
That's counterintuitive,
Yeah,
Councilman.
but you eat and then burn the calories at the same time.
So when do we talk about it?
Sure. So the kitchen is a full cooking kitchen, meaning that it's going to have things like a pizza
So in
conveyor.
other words, is it a kitchen like you would see on American Test Kitchen?
It would be exactly like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a full-size kitchen. It has a deep fryer, so don't worry, you're gonna have your French fries.
Oh, all the healthy stuff.
Yeah, this part, yeah.
And of course, it also has a pizza oven, so a pizza conveyor.
Oh, what's a gym without a pizza oven?
Of course, you gotta work out so you can burn some calories and go put them right
Yeah,
back
and
in.
it has a exhaust fan that goes directly outside too.
Of course, yes.
We
so
made
it
sure that
helps-
happened.
It helps get a little bit of that's good scent. Yes.
Well, somebody asked, well, why do you have a kitchen there? Well, this leads into my other discussion for the last couple of minutes we have, is that this building is also acting as an official emergency evacuation site too.
That's correct, yes.
So that's one of the big reasons why we have a kitchen. You have the bathroom facilities that we do.
Yes.
And Ben, you might want to talk a little bit about the OEM, the emergency management component.
Sure. And so the building can run without power, meaning that it's got backup generators.
It's not just one generator.
It's 2 generators, and they're fairly large. They're about 10 to 12 feet tall, about 12 feet long by about 6 feet wide, and there's 2 of them. This building can run fully on generators. The entire building.
Yeah.
And I know that was a big...
Fully operational.
fully
I mean, you can
operational.
swim when the power's down.
You can swim when the power is down, if that's what you really want to do.
Yeah.
There's also a room that was designed to act
As a command center.
as a command center for emergency operations. There's the ability to kind of move desks around, and even the furniture was designed to be able to kind of pull apart and act truly as a command center in the time of need during.
You know, and
emergencies.
I just, you know, I did mention about this at the groundbreaking that that was a very large component near and dear to me, and I know to a lot of the council members, because having dealt with a lot of issues that cropped up during Hurricane Irene and Hurricane Sandy, that we recognized that we needed something, and we knew that once the community center was rebuilt, we would have the wherewithal to multitask on behalf of the township residents, and to have also this building complement the senior citizen center and the library next door. Because when there's a full-blown emergency in the community that, you know, people have to be evacuated, or there has to be a mass inoculation, that, you know, it's all hands on deck.
Yes.
And we were fortunate enough to talk to a lot of specialists with the emergency management field, the state of New Jersey, county, and locally here, and obviously had a lot of input on what was going to go in this building to make this happen.
Sure.
So, and it's built, as a hurricane shelter.
It really is.
Because last time, 8 to 10 days, a lot of people don't have a power, no water, nothing.
And this will truly act as a place of refuge for a lot of those people who need it.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, is during a major task and emergency that, it would be there that where we can manage a substantial amount of people there, and, with the amount of cots, and, we have about 1,000 cots or more, and we'll be buying, once this building gets built, we'll be buying more cots there, and hermetically sealed, blankets and pillows and ready-made meals and things along that line there for full-blown emergency. Let's just put it this way, Piscataway Township will be ready for the next time Hurricane Sandy comes near us.
Absolutely.
But what are some of the other unique items that
So
that stands out for you as somebody who's been a project manager for
Well, one of the great things that the township decided to do was electric car charging stations. I know that you recently passed an ordinance in town requiring that of developers, and you made the good faith and decided, you know what, we have to do it ourselves. And so there's going to be the ability to charge, I believe, currently six
cards, and I think we're allowed to expand up to 10.
And you've got it expanding, so
the piping's there to do it.
it's all ready to go.
Yeah.
And so I know that that's something that's becoming very popular lately. That's one of the really unique features of this building. There's also, like I had mentioned earlier, there's the Child Watch. The room was designed with lots of different colors and lots of playful themes, so that adults who want to come use the facilities, but also bring their kids. Don't have a babysitter, can drop the kids off.
It's very interesting. When we were down in Virginia Beach, we saw how they had it set up, and there was very high security
Yes.
there. Very high security.
Yes, and I know the security was something that was heavily vetted in this building as well.
You have not. There were so many, dozens and dozens of people had eyes on how the security was going to be set up for this building.
Yes.
Which is a good thing.
Yes.
This way you didn't miss anything. There's going to be a boatload of cameras.
Yes.
Let's just put it this way, you won't be able to sneeze without being picked up.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And of course, there's plenty of office space as well. I know that there's going to be needed for directors of these facilities, as well as even the pool, the aquatic center as well. You really thought about everything when you designed this building. You had your little ticketing office at your aquatic center, and little details that really do make a building very different.
And then one of the things that Councilman, when we were down there, we recognized that we didn't. One of the things that Virginia Beach said that they wish they had more ceiling fans in the aerobics room. and we were able to add a
Incorporate
lot of
that.
ceiling fans in there
Incorporate
to
that.
allow the flexibility.
Of course.
We're there.
Yes, and I know, you know, I don't want to leave these last couple of rooms out. There's your yoga dance studio as well, and you've got your art
You
studio
could do
as well.
Pilates or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And so you really did incorporate almost every type of recreational use that you could have in this building.
Well, I think I think the youth component, the kids are really going to love that.
Of course.
I mean, because just the furniture alone.
Of course.
It's like conducive to like a college dorm where, you know, the way the new college dorms are set up, there were lounge around where there's plug-in for laptops and everything, right in the chairs, and
Yep.
you know what I mean. It is
been
meant
incorporated.
just to lounge around, have a lot of good discussions with your friends, and watch things and
Yep.
learn, to have some teaching courses and everything in there. So. I wish I was a young kid again in Piscataway right
That's
there.
why
So-
one question, being a library board of trustee, because we started in both library a couple years back, teen room.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, parents appreciate because they don't want their kids on the road hang around. Better than they decide some
Yeah.
activities.
That's
Do you have
exactly
anything?
it. Yeah, of course. There is the teen room, and of course, I'm sure you're going to program it to incorporate both swimming as well as basketball,
Well,
as well
yeah.
as anything else, volleyball. Anything you can think of, and keeping kids active.
Well, the main thing is also to also be, it's a teaching building too.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of good programming going on. It's just not about burning calories
Yeah,
off, and
yeah.
actually there'll be some mental exercising going on there.
Sure.
As well, not only just for the teens, but also for adults.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be a lot of classes being taught there. So,
So like one
Ben,
stop everything.
Yeah, it
I
really is.
can't wait to when we have you back on once the building gets enclosed. And I think what we'll do is before we close out the show, we will have a semi-preview walkthrough, like maybe early December, the inside, because the
That's a good
exterior
idea.
camera's not going to be able to do that.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. So I want to thank everybody, and don't forget our summer concert series. School's around soon. There's X amount of days before school opens, so parents enjoy the last 3 to 4 weeks with your children at home. And with that, we will see you in September.
Welcome Piscataway Township to our annual National Night Out. This is an opportunity tonight for all of you to get to know your local law enforcement, both state, county. We do have our county sheriff up here.
It's fantastic to see the communities come together and work together and share with one another.
Ladies and gentlemen, the police officers are here to engage with you. Please take this opportunity to speak to them, share whatever concerns you have, and get to know your local police department.
This now officially starts the 2019 National Night Out. Take it away, DJs.